Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Tech Talk Friday. And it's the first day of the year. 2021 is gone. And 2021 is here. 2020 has gone and 2021 is in front of us. We've been very grateful in 2020 for Nicole who've been supporting us. So very quickly, a quick little spiel on Nicole as we kick off our Tech Talk Friday first edition of the year.
Woi, bro.
Apa dia?
Aku mes. Woi, bro.
Apa dia?
Aku message kau 50 kali, tak balas.
Alah bro, aku tak ada time lah bro message. Aku sekarang tengah Nicole bro. Nicole lah, itu dia in sekarang. Tengah trending tengah kacau.
Kau cakap apa? Apa tu?
Nicole. Kau tak tahu Nicole? Google kau tahu? Nicole kau tak tahu? Tak, Nicole app untuk belajar bro. Semua tengah belajar guna Nicole sekarang.
Ilmu
semua tengah guna Nicole.
Share sikit lah.
Boleh bro, kau tengok macam ni bro.
Okay.
Kau kalau kau lembab, kau kena Nicole bro.
Memang aku lembab sikit sebenarnya.
Bro, kalau kau nak laju, kau nak top, kau nak jadi CEO, kau kena guna Nicole. Kau tahu kena pergi mana? Digital.dynamic.org. 200 je bro tahun.
Aku buat tu aku tak lembab dah
tak tahu bro kapasiti kau macam mana. Tapi aku rasa Nicole ni boleh tolong kau lah bro. Confirm.
Okay. Berapa?
RM200 je bro tahun.
Boleh lah duit raya pakai
selamba bro. Ni kau tengok ni bro. Cahaya bro, kau tengok ni. Ini daripada Howard bro. Power bro.
Oi, memang cantik.
Apa ni? Jangan ambil akunya.
Okay.
Aduh.
Sorry. Aku teruja sangat lah.
Ni tak apa kita tunggu sini.
Friday, and today is a great day because we've got a bunch of guests, as many guests as we had from all our different tech talks over the last couple of weeks and months are back here to give us some advice. And up front today, our first guest of the night is Ganesh Banga. So Ganesh, welcome to the house. Ganesh is of course an icon in the technology industry. And Ganesh, glad to have you here. I know you're on holiday or tell us where you are today.
Yeah, I'm actually in Desaru today. Yeah, so so I'm actually in between spa appointments.
See that so we are just in between two spa appointments. That's okay. We'll take whatever we get from Ganesh. So Ganesh, let's talk about 2020 very quickly. We've got about 2 minutes or 3 minutes, I think, per guest. 2020, what was your low? Should we start with your low or high? Okay, what's your low point of 2020? What was bad about 2020?
Sure. I think the low point was when the lockdown was first announced in Malaysia. I think it was mid-March, if I'm not mistaken. And when that happened, I think nobody knew what's going to happen, whether we're going to have enough food on the table, whether we can go to the supermarket to buy stuff, whether there's going to be food in the supermarket, right? And that was very scary on business, and it affected the whole stock market as well. So our markets were hit. We didn't know what to do at that time. We don't know how the future is going to be. For the country and the world, right? So that was definitely my low point, and I think low point for a lot of us in 2020.
And your high point, what was the highlight of 2020?
So I think it was 1 or 2 months ago. So I acquired a majority stake in an Australian company, NetCentric, which we talked about the last time, right? And one of the things I was trying to do for the last 1 year was actually, since I bought it, I think in January or February, was actually to increase the investor relations in Australia. And about 1 or 2 months ago, we actually released an investor deck, right, to explain about the company and the future of the company. And the day after we actually released the investor deck, the share price of the company actually jumped. It went from something like 3 or 4 cents right up. In the morning, went up to 13 cents. It ended at 7 cents, right?
Wow.
So I think that was definitely the high point, because of the efforts that we've been putting in over the last 1 year to build the investor relations. We changed the board, we improved the strategy, we got onto live commerce, and so a lot of that actually showed on that day when actually our market cap rise, and I guess the investors in Australia saw and started to believe in the new vision for the company.
Fantastic. Okay, so here's the part we're waiting for. Tell us a bit about what you think your predictions are for 2021, and what advice would you give us out there from your perspective, at least?
Sure, I think digitalization will continue to rise for sure. I think at the overall high level for our industry, digitalization will continue to rise. I believe a lot of hot money that's in the stock markets will leave the stock markets, which means things will go back to reality when it comes to the investing sphere. So overvalued tech names, etc., will go back to reality, I believe. But digitalization and technology adoption will continue to rise. In the industry where I'm in, influencer marketing and e-commerce, and where that kind of transcends live commerce, which we recently invested in, I think that will start really going mass in the next 1 year or so. You know, live commerce people are starting to buy fish and seafood on Facebook, right? But it's not really hitting the brands. Brands are not engaging in live commerce, are not using live commerce yet. And I think in the next 1 year, live commerce will actually go mainstream, right? To focus on more products than just seafood or food that you put on your table, right? It's actually going to go into real physical products, and brands will start engaging on it.
And I think the $1 million question is, what's your joke? What's a good joke that you want to tell us for 2021?
A good joke?
Yeah, something to put a little bit of cheer and smile on our faces.
Yeah, let me think. You should have asked me that earlier, and I would have.
I'm putting you on the spot here, but no, thanks. I think that's very useful to some different things to think a little bit, especially on the live commerce side. But a lot of people are very downcast about 2021, and they're feeling that 2021 is going to be a horrendous year. You feel likewise that it's going to be a challenge for many?
I think the early part of the year will be a challenge, I believe. I mean, we're starting on a footing that's not so strong. Our number of COVID cases in our country and across the world are record highs. So we're starting We're starting the year with a lot of gloom. But there's always a silver lining in gloom, right? And there's always opportunity in crisis. So I think, and we can see that for 2020, right? I believe that 2020 didn't start on such a negative note, but ended up to be quite a negative year for the overall industry and economy. But for our industry, it actually did quite well, right? So actually, the tech industry was actually the silver lining. We did for the whole year, right? So, for example, the e-commerce businesses that I invested in, about half were still losing money before the lockdown. But right now, almost all are profitable. In fact, we turned profitable in quarter 2 of 2020, right? So with that, there's always silver lining, and I believe the second half of the year things will pick up, right? And it'll be led by tech and digitalization.
Okay, very good. Thanks so much, Ganesh. Really appreciate you being here. Have continue. We will let you go off to your spa and to perfect your body and soul and spirit and so on and so forth. So that you can
recover to prepare for the toughest half of the year, right?
Okay, go for it. So we'll let Ganesh off. Enjoy your spa and remember us. As we as you meditate and as you reflect so goodbye, Ganesh. Thanks, Ganesh. We have Aaron Sharma joining us in a bit. So Aaron, welcome to our show. Welcome to Tech Talk Friday. Aaron, you've been on a show a couple of times, I think. Sometimes I think you just pop up occasionally when you're having a drink in Bangsa Shopping Center.
That's true.
So you're a guest we like to have on. So tell us a bit about 2020 for you. What was 2020 for you?
So I'm going to start with my little quip, a pun I've been waiting to use all year. So hindsight is 2020. Yeah, because I think we have it now. It's now in the back. Yeah, the rear view mirror of where we're looking at, and I think we're all kind of relieved.
Now you can officially use it today, at least.
Yeah, now we can use. We've been waiting to use it for a long time, actually. So my dad jokes are coming out. But I think like a lot of people we had this feeling like, the year ends and 2021 is a new beginning. In many ways, it's like an emotional reset. but the underlying challenges still exist with the pandemic and with what that's done to businesses. So I think I echo a lot what Ganesh is saying, that even though emotionally, I think, and mentally, we're all really ready to move forward with the future and for better times. We still got a lot to deal with, and I think that's what we're going to have to work with and work on for the next couple of months or into the next year.
Okay. So lowest point 2020.
Sure. I'm going to go with a personal one because I think Ganesh spoke really well about the pandemic. So, as you may know, I sold my company to AirAsia in. We completed the sale in 2019, right? And then I left. We started scale up and stuff. But I agreed to stay on the board of AirAsia.com for a bit longer. And so last year, a couple of months ago in September, I stepped down from the board at AirAsia.com. And to me, that was like a very emotional moment for me. Because it was the company I started, we built it up, we sold it, and of course, intellectually, that you were making this decision, and of course, you are happy that it went this way. But it was just like a moment, an end of a journey for me, and that was quite a low point. And now moving on to different things, even within the group and beyond. Yeah.
Yep, but like you said, there is an and I like this. One of our guests is saying, Norin saying the opportunity is there for those looking, right? So
Absolutely.
in every low point, there's some hidden opportunity, or there's hidden. So yeah, and what are your high points of 2020?
So I think with the pandemic, we were actually at Scale Up Malaysia looking at our first cohort, right? And we were doing obviously sessions with the companies, but we knew when the pandemic hit, a lot of them were really impacted badly. And obviously, we had a choice at that point. We could have said, let's wait it out and maybe not invest in those companies. But we made the decision that it was important to support local startups and the startups, at least under our care. And so we decided to invest in 10 of the companies in the cohort. And to me, that was a high point, not just because obviously for us at Scale Up Malaysia, it was our inaugural cohort, our very first one. So we wanted to make sure, it meant something. And these are the first 10 big decisions we made. And so it was important for us in that standpoint, but also because we felt we gave some companies a fighting chance to last through the year. And by and large, all of them have survived the year, and we're looking forward to 2021. So to me, that was really important to us. And now we've started our second cohort. So really excited. And that was, to me, a very important moment for us.
Fantastic. And when you think about 2021, now is the first day, of the year. Everyone's, I see messages coming. Oh, happy! Aaron says happy New Year, everyone. And we all hope and pray that it's going to be an amazing year. But what do you think? What do you think lies ahead through the lens of Aaron Salman?
I'm generally an optimist. So in my company before, people used to call me the Optimist Prime. So
I think all entrepreneurs are optimists, lah. So we read, lah. But what do you think?
Silver linings. You gotta believe that it's gonna be, it's always dark before the dawn. This is what every entrepreneur believes, right? So I do think the year is gonna be tough for a lot of companies because we're still going through a lot of upheaval, right? And there's still a lot of uncertainty. And even though there are good signs like the vaccine's out, it's being distributed. We don't know what the future is going to hold. So this kind of uncertainty is making a lot of people nervous. And I don't think we're going to see much of a shift in the uncertainty until like Q3, Q4 of this year. So I think these are some things to take note of. But that said, I think digital transformation will still be big in the coming year. I think all the guys who really put down deep roots in 2020 will be able to build on that in 2021. And I think we're going to see a lot more startups get funded actually this year. Because the government spent a lot of money.
Yeah, I mean the government is I mean we heard about
they put money through Jana Penjana into the industry. A lot of VCs that we've spoken to, they're holding on to dry powder, and now they're saying, okay, 21 we're going to start deploying it. So good sign for anybody who's building a business. And I also think a lot more people will start founding new companies in the next year.
And so your advice would be, based on those things, what would your advice be to?
I think if you're currently running a business, my advice to you is just to be agile, right? And really like look around and see what the customer needs are, because the opportunities with a pandemic or a crisis like this is that the opportunity map is changing, right? There are new opportunities and there are new needs in the market, and if you can serve those needs, you will find a niche for you to grow a big business. I think that's really important as well. And I think the most important for any entrepreneur, be it somebody who's starting or somebody who's going through the business right now, is be resilient and don't quit. Because I think the guys who survive and do well are the guys who rough it out and tough it out and make it to the end of the journey, right? So I think it's really important.
Okay, very good. So Optimus Prime, right? So that's
Optimus Prime. Yeah.
that's our new name for you, huh? Optimus Prime. I'll remember that, and we'll make sure we highlight that. So Aaron, thank you, and I think you'll be back. Hopefully you'll be. Aaron's battery is he forgot to bring his charger, so his battery might run out. But
Yeah.
if
Rookie
his battery
mistake, man.
if his battery doesn't run out, we're going to bring you back at the tail end of the show. We'll try and bring everybody
Sure.
back at the tail end of the show for those who can stick around, and we can all celebrate 2021 together. So, Aaron, thanks so much for your words of advice. We'll jump on to our next guest, Elaine Lochmann. And, we're so privileged to have Elaine with us because,
Hi.
before we jump into the highs and the lows, and maybe you'll cover it in your highs or lows, but you want to tell us what's happening with you? We just heard some amazing news, and you're just out of hospital, and you decided your first appearance out of hospital is Tech Talk Friday. So we are very privileged and very honored. But you want to tell us what's happening?
Yeah, honestly, when Karamjit asked me, I was still in hospital. So I had a major.
Yes, and you say yes. What is it about Karam that makes you say yes?
No, because he said, "Oh, it's on the first." I said, "Yeah, it should be okay. It's far from the stomach. It's fine. I can still talk." Yeah, well, I had a major surgery 2 weeks ago. It was quite scary, but I'm out of the woods. But I need quite a bit of time to recover. But I'm okay. I'm okay, guys. So and I can still do stuff virtually. So yeah. So,
that's the
anyway,
beauty. That's the beauty of what we have now, the virtual sessions. But so, what would that have been your low point in your life, or for 2020?
I guess personally, but things happen, right? Shit happens. But I think for business, specifically for Atta Plus, I think one of the low points was that we were closing off a VC deal just when COVID happened, and that really did a number on us. So that screwed our plan.
Derailed the deal.
Yeah. But having said that, there's always a silver lining, like Aaron said, even like what Ganesh was saying earlier. And that brings me to my high point, which was we found a strategic investor, in July, and that was Green Pro, who took a strategic stake in us. And we're now en route to regional expansion. And we're really excited about that, moving forward. So that's something that we're really looking forward to in this year.
Yep.
This year.
Yep.
Yeah, and on top of that, I just want to speak on behalf of the ECF and P2P Association also. I guess the low point would be, I think we expected a bit more support from the government, specifically for ECF in terms of the budget for this year. And also, we actually also asked them to further extend the more aggressive matching, especially for ECF and P2P, because looking at the scenario, we're still in recovery period, and companies are still very much in need for that. But unfortunately, that has ended yesterday.
Yeah.
And it's reverted back to the previous ratio. But having said that,
the 1 in 4 ratio, right?
Correct. But having said that, we are very, very pleased about the 50% rebate for equity crowdfunding investors.
Yeah. Up to 50,000. Up to 50,000, right? So that's live from January 1st, right? Yeah, and we'll talk about that at the end of our show. We're going to talk a little about that. Yeah. Elaine, there's a quick question from someone on Penjana Capital. I think it's possibly to you and maybe others. But they seem to be hardly any info, and emails to respective VC resulted in no replies. One responded that the fund was fully dried up. I think what they're talking about is the matching grant from myself, right? That has been dried up. Or is there something?
Yeah, that's very different. So that's got nothing to do with Penjana. So the one that's dried up is the matching fund, which was allocated for the last 2 budgets. So that's completely dried up. Yeah.
So when in response to this Penjana Capital, what would your response be?
I think it's a very good initiative from the government. However, moving forward, I think specific to the equity crowdfunding players, we will see how we perhaps we can work with the individual VCs if they're interested to work with us. However, looking at the the VCs, they're very much into still VC-like structures and also PEs, where ECF may be too small for them. But having said that, we'll never know. We can come up with something more innovative. Maybe they can actually pre-allocate some funds that we can work with, even who knows, maybe matching with MySIF as well. Yeah.
And so your high point 2020, or you sort of mentioned that just now.
Yeah, I sort of mentioned. So for my high point is really the strategic investment for us. So we are really looking forward, because that actually will springboard us to our next phase of growth. Yeah. So I think,
and what do you think of 2021? I mean, where are we going to go for 2021? And
I think with what's the government put in place, I think there's going to be a lot more interest in ECF right now.
I believe so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people will be wondering, okay, how can I get my hands on this 50% tax rebates? I echo Aaron to say that, and also Ganesh, there'll be, I think a lot more investments going into startups. I think, with the startups, there will be more and more companies looking at alternative type of financing, right? And they will definitely look at this space more seriously. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, your advice, I mean, for the layperson or a tech leader, what would your advice be?
I think for the layperson, do consider alternative investments, because at the end of the day, I think there will be interesting exits this year. I think last year, because of COVID, yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of companies that's actually found their footing, adjusted themselves, pivoted, and you will see more and more new types of businesses coming back up. Yeah. For startups, I think quite along the similar lines of what Aaron was saying. Relook at your business. There are new opportunities. There's always opportunities and challenges. But I think this year alone, I think people are trying to find their footing, stabilizing themselves. It's not going to get back to normal just yet. I think maybe towards the end of the year, especially once the vaccine is a bit more stabilized, Yeah,
that's true. No, but I mean, I think the silver lining in all this is that there are a lot of companies that did go out of business, but what the ones that survive, they are much more resilient, much stronger, and I think they probably will have a much more robust business model, or would have pivoted to a business model. So in some sense, the guys you are investing in who are still alive in 2021 are probably going to be businesses to look out for and to
absolutely
to put your teeth into and invest in.
Yeah, I think those, like you said, those who that needed to be wiped out have been wiped out already. Last year.
Or at least will be in the next quarter or so. I think some of them maybe because of the moratoriums and so on. So, but you'll start to see them slowly being wiped out. But the ones that are going to stick around are going to stick around.
Yeah, but I think to me, entrepreneurs never say die. They will come back.
Absolutely. Which will be good for you guys, right? Atta Plus. All right, thanks, Elaine. We need you to we need you to rest, to recover. I know you're gonna be out for a couple of months at least, right? So we'll touch base from time to time. We'll be praying for you and rooting for you in Atta Plus. So all the best, Elaine. Have a fantastic 2021.
You too. Thank you. Thanks.
All right. And we have a special guest appearance from Karamjit Singh, who is going to pop up any second now. So I believe, Karam, can you on your video so we can pop you out? So Karam will be popping out in a second if he does. It's all black at this point in time, but then again, all right, maybe not. So no Karam for us yet. We'll go to our next guest, Chen Chao. Welcome to the show, the man of the moment. How are you, man? How has 2020 been for you?
Yeah, thanks a lot, Roshan, for having me. I think great that you are doing this on the 1st of January, 2021. Happy New Year to everyone as well. Yeah, I think 2020 has been an interesting, unique year, right? I think that everyone went through lots of ups and downs. I think that 1 year ago, on January 1st, 2020, I think if people were asked what's a prediction of 2020, I think no one would have predicted anything that have happened, not even anywhere close. No one's business projection, scenario analysis would even the worst case scenario planning would not even have any meaning. So I think that great that I think where we are after 1 year, and I think this year we see a lot of resilience, right? I think a lot of people adapting, and I think a lot of times it's like now today when the government change any ruling, okay, this thing is closed, that thing is open, and anything's within few days, people are all adapting. And I think that this year, I think one of our investor from Sequoia thing was sharing with us, I think that in 2020, I think a lot of things people have put in, and sometimes we may not see the results. But I think that the key is that in the 2021 and beyond, we're going to see the seeds of what we plant in 2020. Right, so 2020 may not be the outcome. I mean, a lot of them we may put in a lot of efforts, but it's a delayed effect. I think what we're going to see, how the impact of it will be, what we have done in 2020, that would determine how well we.
And that's a point that I love, because I think a lot of people don't realize that when you when you put a seed and then you water it and then you see the first 3 months, 4 months, nothing moves, and hardly a little shoot. But at some point in time, it just grows, and over 5, 10, 20 years, you start to see this huge tree that grows, right? And I think the more effort you put in, the result may not be so tangibly seen, but at some point in time, you start to see the visibility. So I think that's a fantastic point that you brought up. So let's talk about your year. What's been bad about it?
Yeah, so I think like in March, right? I think as the lockdown happened, I think I was not prepared personally, right? So I think that at least I think Malaysia, I still remember on the Prime Minister made the announcement on my birthday, right? So of the lockdown on the March 16th. So I was having birthday dinner, and then suddenly the announcement was like, okay, lockdown in the country, and I didn't know how to react, to be honest, right? I think and on March 18th, pretty much most of our business merchants all closed down. So for Malaysia, our business basically dropped 90% on March 18th versus March 17th. So I think pretty scary. And I think that personally as well, I think the adaptation. So I think especially during the 6-7 weeks of full lockdown in March, April, early May, I was pretty much stuck in my desk, working day and night. And I think my footsteps dropped down to maybe 300 steps a day, 400 steps a day. And I think that was sort of where looking back, I think I could have handled it better. I think a lot of efforts, 15, 18, 20 hours, but I think a lot of time I think is zooming out, how do you do things differently? I think initially a lot more immediate reaction, but
and
which
you
may
had
not.
you had a health scare. I mean, you had quite a bad health scare, right? At that point in time.
Earlier, yeah, previous.
Oh, previously, okay. So, but your health took a turn in terms of a low point for you. That was a big problem for you, right?
I think no specific healthcare at that point, but I think it's more like I think positivity as a pretty much sitting, and I think generally don't walk, don't anything. I just eat, sleep.
That's the danger of. Okay, that's a danger of sitting there and sedentary life with your computer, huh? So what was great about 2020, Chief?
Yeah, so I think that looking back, I think right now at we end of the year, right? Last night I was at Kylie's place. I think was looking with a bunch of entrepreneurs, founders, and from people from the scene. I think like people were talking about it, and I think it's really interesting. I think what have evolved and emerged, and I think the last night they even did a thing where we wrote down whatever that bad has happened in 2020. We put it to the shredder, and it is shred off everything. But I think that looking at 2020. I think the resilience that I think from the businesses that we work with, or even within a team, the adaptation, I think looks great. And I think the key is that I think seeing the rebounds, and I think looking into December, I think that as a group level, we are seeing year-on-year growth again. And I think there's a positive, I think, consecutively, I think since the lowest in April, I think every month since then has been month-on-month growth. I think it's pretty interesting to see. And while our accountants are still, finance accounting are still closing the number, but it looks like we'll be making the group profitability in December, right? So I think that's something that we would never have thought that during COVID, we would actually improve the bottom line significantly as well. So I think a lot of those aspects, but I think the building, and also I think one is building the foundations from where we was, and I think standing beyond, and I think time will tell whether those things, whatever that invested in, built in, put on. And I think we know that we can now do things with different resources. I think people doesn't need to be in office every day and all this kind of thing.
Fantastic. And let's talk about 2021, right? And what it begets. I mean, so what are your thoughts of 2021? And maybe, I'd love to hear your advice. I know you are also a community leader, and you get yourself involved in a number of projects outside of business. So what are your thoughts and advice for us? Not just in terms of how to prepare for 2021, but also what we should be thinking of for our lives ahead of us.
Yeah, I think interesting. I think that for 2021, I think as we go on is I think looking at what we personally want, what our people that we connected to, whether family, friends, colleagues, community, and everything, and I think beyond, right? And I think together this year, I think what we have thought is I think the community comes together throughout, right? So I think we have seen whether from charity, whether even from I think if you ask me back then in March, would we imagine that everyone in Malaysia will wear masks in all the malls? I think we were like, okay, Malaysians generally don't follow rules, right? But I think people actually have rise to the occasion and people actually do that. And I think in 2021, we'll continue to see a lot of volatility. I think like vaccines right now, I think from what I see earlier was 6 million vaccines has been injected, but I think it's still less than 0.1% of population. So I think Malaysia, their first vaccine will be February, March or so. So I think things will be moving up and down. And I think even vaccines, it may be perfect or maybe a lot of hiccups as well along the way, right? But I think along the way today, whatever that doesn't kill us, I think makes us stronger. And I think a lot of it is, I think, continue to stay positive. I think continue to live. And I think control the controllable that what we can all do, right? I think things may be gloomy, things may be bad. And I think this year, people spend more time with their loved ones. People spend more time doing things that they care about. I think a lot of people improve on their health as well. I think for me, since mid-October as well, since the latest lockdown, I told myself, okay, every night I will walk to 10,000 steps, right? So if I ended my day at 3,000, I will walk 7,000 at night. And I think gradually building on that, the last 2.5 months, finally, after so long, managed to cut 6 kilo. But a long way to go, I'm still way over. But I think hopefully 2021 will be able to move through. And I think everything, I think people can make it happen. And I think just stay positive and wish everyone the best.
Chen Chao, that's a best practice. I do that too. I come home at 11:30 and I realize I've not done my steps. I will not sleep until I've done my steps, and that's punishment. Is that you won't be able to sleep well after that. I want to end with one question, right? Because this very, very important question is very serious question. What is one thing that Karam needs to do differently in 2021? This is like the most important question, right?
Yeah, Karam. Yeah, I think interesting question, right? I think we want Karam to appear here right now, right? And to answer that question, right? Yes, yeah. So maybe I know that Karam should be asking question. Maybe I'll ask back Karam, right? I know Roshan asked me, and now I ask back to Karam.
No, I think we want to know because we all believe that there are many things Karam needs to change. But when we tell Karam this, he doesn't listen. But when some distinguished tech icon like you tells him, "Hey, Karam, get your act together," he will listen. So we need your advice to Karam. See?
Oh well, I'm not qualified for that, but I think
okay, we put on the spot. I apologize for this. This one, it was just I want to make fun of Karam, but no. Thank you so much for your for advice, and I think a lot of nuggets of wisdom from you. So thanks, Chen Chao. Have a fabulous 2021. And we wish Faith fabulous, amazing 2021. And sorry to put you on the spot. It's one of those. Sick diseases that I have, but I'm trying to cure myself from that.
There is no vaccine for the disease that he has. No vaccine.
I know.
The universe does not have a vaccine for the medical problem Roshan has.
Now you see Kamarul and everybody else is sweating. What question is this guy going to pull on us? So Karam, welcome to the show finally. And I don't know what you're doing. You knew the show is 6 o'clock, and then at 2 o'clock you decide let's take a drive to Penang, right? Only Karamjit Singh will do that. No one in the world will suddenly decide to take a ride to Penang in the middle of a pandemic. Where we're all supposed to be in semi-lockdown. But anyway, that's Karamjit for you. So Karam, since we have you, let me get your 2 cents. What is your thoughts for 2020? one.
I think
And
for sure the day has started out badly lah, right? And then we had a problem with starting our high tech car, and we had to wait like 4 hours for somebody to come and get it sorted. Then in the highway, when we had a gas station, when we stopped the car, the damn thing wouldn't start again. And then we wasted half an hour. And then on the highway, I think I took a picture and shared with you in the group, right? A tanker which was broken down, and a tow truck. The tow truck caught fire trying to pull the tanker. So we are watching a plume of smoke go up and down in front of us. Yo, crazy. But all of it was worth it, listening to Chen Chao, because Chen Chao said something that was just music to my ear. He said that this December, the faith on a group level will be most likely profitable. And I tell you, Chen Chao, you have made my day. Okay. And then, Chen Chao, you said one of the good things about this year is that we all spend more time with family. I mean, me and my family, we've been locked up in this car, right, in a long journey, and we're getting on each other's nerves. So I don't know about whether that's a good thing or not. But hearing Chen Chao's words were like a balm to my soul and to my high stress levels. And the fact that he thinks, this will be a good year, that's great. But I think what is interesting about Chen Chao is that faith has got its finger on the pulse of the SME, ecosystem in Malaysia, right?
And Karam, I think somebody's just saying you're very funny lah. So I'm not sure that's in relation to what you're saying about faith, but whenever we put Karam on, he's got lots of things to say. But we've got a couple more guests that is dying.
Definitely, get them on.
I'm going to bring Kamarul in, and I'm going to disappear because this time, Karam.
Kamarul, how are you, bro?
I'm good. How are you, Karam?
Okay, a bit stressed out by the stress levels coming down. I managed to get on the show thanks to the help of Maxis and their dongle. They really do have the best, broadband coverage on the highway, North South Highway.
Lucky you. I was driving route last week.
Oh, you see, you couldn't get it. Okay, so I could. So anyway, thanks a lot. So, bro, look, I tell people, Kamarul, first, thanks for making time for this. I tell everyone that in my 2 decades of covering the tech space, you are the first company that DNA has covered, that I have covered, that has become a global leader in your vertical, right? And I keep telling that to people because it is incredibly important and profound. And you're just at the early stages of trying to become the company you envision Aerodyne to be. So that's exciting. So I don't want to say some more because I'll embarrass you with my expectations or put pressure on you. I'll transfer my pressure to you of what I expect Aerodyne to be. But to get to the point, right, what were your low points of the last year, if there were any, and what were the high points? And I want to ask about your thoughts for this year, right? And especially around the economy, if you've got an opinion on that.
Sure. Let's talk about the low point first, right? So early in the year, you covered the news too, right? I mean, that was the time that we closed our Series B, and we've got all things lined up. I mean, we have big plans for the year. Our global expansion was supposed to run on full steam. It is still running, but that was it. And we had projects that were about to kick off.
Yes.
In fact, we had our first large-scale hire, 80 people in one shot. 80.
Wow.
Right. So that happened in end of February, and those guys supposed to start work in March. Then COVID, then the lockdown came, and the sad thing was those young men and women that was joining us were so all very excited.
Yeah,
they came in, they stay around, and then this thing happened, and they're still talking to us when we're going to start. So that was frustrating to me. So that was one of the first low point, and it was then compounded not just by the lockdown, then because of the travel restrictions, then we couldn't execute some of our projects as well. So things just sort of gotten really bad between March until about May or June. Right. So that was pretty much a low the low point for the group for me actually. Yeah. And
your high point?
Yeah, the high point was I would say, in every crisis there's always a silver lining, right? I mean, we had a lot of deferment, a lot of projects put on hold as well. We lost some, especially business, especially in hospitality as well. So I mean, otherwise we would have been going on with what we normally do as well. it got us thinking as well. A lot of rethinking, a lot of reviewing what we have, and then we embark on the market study as well. Something that we have not done in a long time because we sort of in our comfort zone of doing our infrastructure business, right?
Okay.
So out of that, we managed to now develop 4 new solutions.
Wow.
You know, four new without ignoring what we already had, right? So one of it is actually agriculture. So we stumble into this huge problem statement in Malaysia. You know, we do not have food security, right? You know that on average we are importing more than 1 billion ringgit every single week, Karam. Food.
Wow.
So that's huge. You know, we are relying on foreign supply to feed us, right?
Yep.
So we don't have security there. Imagine if there's war or something, how do we protect ourselves, right? So we came across this problem. Then we realized also there's a problem with foreign labor. In agriculture, we rely a lot on foreign labor.
Absolutely.
You know, and foreign labor brings social issues as well. You know, and reliability issues too. So it's like, hey, I think this is something that we knew all along that this is something that drone can really help, but it's just that it's not in our radar. We were focusing on the other side, right? So then we immediately went to the drawing board. We came up with a new product called Agrimo. Do more with agriculture. Basically, it's an agriculture.
Agrimo. Okay.
We're about to roll out in February, but we already on the it's e-hailing for drone, for agriculture drone. So
e-hailing. Wow, interesting concept.
So because the idea is that we want to also help provide employment in the rural area.
Sure.
So there's a lot of unemployment in rural area, and they will be coming. So when they come to the city, there's no job for them as well. So again, this is a problem for the country, right? And when we look deeper, and this is the same problem everywhere in Southeast Asia and also in India, which is one of the biggest market for us too. So now we're putting a lot of energy into this, and it's looking very exciting. You know?
Wow.
So
you're gonna even more. Maybe I will look forward to an agriculture-based deal you do. I think some of the large global companies in maybe fertilizer, not agriculture. No, they also have investment funds. So it'll be interesting to see if you get a funder in that aspect also. But okay. Okay. Maybe I clued people off. But anyway, so what about your thoughts for this year? Are you concerned about the economy? Being not as good as there's a lot of optimism that this will be a great year to make up for last year. Pent up demand. What do you think?
I think again I'm an optimistic person. I'm an optimist. I think things will get better. But we cannot leave our guards just yet. The UN just released a very grim prediction a couple of days ago. That things are not out. Is going to get really, really bad in this year, 2021.
Wow. Okay, I didn't read that. Okay.
Yeah, and especially on famine. 250 million people will not have enough food to eat this coming year. And as a direct impact of the pandemic as well. And again, if you look at it, famine always come after pandemic as well.
Yes.
In the history of mankind as well, right? And it is showing sign that it's happening here as well. It may not have direct impact to what we are doing, but it may impact the global economy generally as well. So we'll see how it goes. We're about to roll out a lot of the things that we are doing. I think I'm very optimistic. I think our agriculture has already rolled out, and another one is actually we are working on Generation 7 drone technology, which is the autonomy level 5. Drones.
Level 5. Wow. Okay, fantastic.
So we are already working on that, and I think that's the future. The future of drones is not people flying drones anymore. It's level 5 autonomy. We are already testing them. And all of this happened out of COVID, out of the lockdown.
Yeah, amazing. So
then we rechannel our energy into focusing into all of these solutions. Yeah.
Very good. So good. I'm going to bring on the next guest. But if there is one word to define my prediction for Aerodyne, I think it's going to be, the word is explosive. This year, you guys are going to be just explosive. All the best to you, Kamaru, okay?
Keeping our fingers crossed. Thank you.
Kamaru,
work harder and drive your people hard also.
Okay, I was going to ask Kamaru, like, what should Karam do differently, but I think I'll keep it for our
Hey,
next
no
guest.
time, no time, don't waste time. I told you, anybody out there listening who's not from planet Earth, please develop a vaccine for Roshan's illness, okay? It's severe and getting worse.
Okay, oh, Karam's gone. Okay, we have our next guest, and I think next Khalid. I think Khalid, welcome. And my cooking story was a phenomenal session that we had with you. I think months ago now, right? And 2020 was an awesome year for you, right? Was there even a low for you?
Yes, Roshan. Hey, Happy New Year, mate.
Happy New Year. How's 2020 for you?
Hey, listen, before that, I was really worried, right? I'm on a holiday here up in the mountains. And I was wondering, I look at all the tech icons of Malaysia, all sitting at home or at the office. And I'm thinking, shit, what am I doing wrong? But I saw Karam, so he's on a holiday as well. So I'm okay now. Keep that up.
The tech icons that have made it, like Ganesh Banga, they're either in a spa or Karam's driving around, fooling around in Penang. So the ones that have made it are on holidays. The ones like us who have yet to make it, we have to sit in our house and keep working. So you can see, Kamaru, Elaine, Chen Chow, myself, we're all stuck here. Whereas the guys on spa like Ganesh and yourself, you guys made it, So that's all I can say, man. So how's 2020 been for you, man?
Hey, it's been an interesting year. So we did go through the the lows and the highs, but the lows, in terms of the lows, had a B2B business, still have it, and as you know, B2B took a dive. The biggest disappointment was we had one of the biggest retailers out of Australia, one of the two biggest retailers in the hook, almost there, and then a friend came on, COVID, and it just evaporated, right? So that was one of the biggest things. But then, of course, every crisis is a catalyst. I've always believed that. So, out of that came mycookingstory.com, which is our new e-com, which is our new baby. Believe it or not, ever since, I think, June to date, things have been very hectic. So I can sort of safely say now that I'm an owner of an e-com as well, right? 2020 wasn't too bad, actually. We came out well out of 2020.
Yeah. No, and I think you kind of highlight what Elaine spoke about earlier on, that and Ganesh also spoke about this briefly, in every crisis, there's an opportunity. And you kind of fully leverage that. I mean, the pivots and, really pivoting from the traditional business into e-commerce business has been huge, and you made it successful. And we've heard we heard your story. What sort of advice would you give us for 2021? What's your prediction, and what should we be thinking about? What should we be worried about? What should we be focused on for 2021?
Okay, cool. So I believe and this is my humble predictions, for 2021, having gone through the experience of online and e-com and so on, there's going to be a lot of consolidation, right? There's a lot of, even I've got a lot of mates of mine who've gotten into online e-commerce and so on. Some of them out of necessity, because their business, they had to actually go online. But a lot of them have actually gone online because of a lot of webinars that are going around. So I believe there's going to be a consolidation this year, meaning, there's quite a few that are going to fall off the bandwagon. A lot of them are looking really shaky. But the other thing is, a lot of them are going to thrive, and that's because they're collaborating. So for me, there are two big words for 2021. One is consolidation, and if you don't want to be part of that, then you collaborate, right? And again, in terms of consolidation, collaboration is also a kind of consolidation where, for example, if you've got a competitor, or if you see a complementary business, tag them along, bring them along, then you can scale yourself a lot higher, a lot quicker, and you also achieve economies of scale, right? And then also what I notice is, you're going to be very sexy for investors. That's what I noticed from personal experience. That's what's going to happen. So the two big words, consolidation and collaboration. And just one more very, very important thing for 2021 is value. Because of the recession plus a hike in unemployment, people are going to be looking for value. And for me, value means very simple: price, relevance, and quality. Whether you're serving or whether you're providing a product, this is important.
And you know, I think you're you know, one of the things that you talked on, not many people talked about this consolidation, and I agree, you know, because you kind of look at what history has taught us, right? Is that at times of crisis, the big guys win, right? I mean, this is the IBM of the 70s, where you know you only buy IBM because it's the safe, the big guy. And I think many of the smaller folks have to think about how do we kind of collaborate and consolidate potentially to be that big guy, so that we can access the market, we can attack the market, and you know, kind of. So I think that's a very interesting thought for 2021. You know, where smaller players need to start thinking about ganging up together, so that they can at least look the part of a big guy. You know? Love that. You know, Chen Chao refused to answer this question, but I need you to answer this. What's the one thing that Karam needs to do differently in 2021? We have to answer it. Nobody wants to answer it, man.
Okay, in 2021, I'm going to make this a selfish one. He needs to talk to me more.
Oh, I like that. Okay. I'm gonna ask you one thing. You know, this second question. What's your most favorite tech company in Malaysia today?
Well, there are a few for different reasons. I like Commerce.Asia, Ganesh Bangas, because of the interesting ecosystem he's built. And I'm actually partnering with a couple of his companies where we're actually taking their service, and it seems very interesting. The second one is, I suppose, Fave. So, you know, hats off to Fave.
And both of them were on. So Chen Chao was on in a bit, and Ganesh is in a spa now. But when he's done with the spa, we'll see whether we can get him all in his sparred up look. And I don't know what's the look.
That's a bit too much information, mate, for new. Your families probably are watching.
Okay, yeah, we'll keep it PG. Yeah. Karam, heard that? All right. Khalid, super happy to have you on our show, and great to have you. Karam's deep in thought as always. You know,
No. Roshan is desperate for ratings, so that's why he's trying to sex up the show. He doesn't want PG-13. Shame on you, Roshan.
So we are G now. We are you in Malaysia. We are umum. You know. So Karam, quick take before we get Matthew Barsing on. Our final guest, and then we've got a surprise. A big fan of Tech Talk Friday is going to come on and tell us about what she thought of Tech Talk Friday the last couple of months, and give her 2 cents on 2021. But before we get Matthew Barsing, your quick take on what you've heard so far from everyone.
I think the consolidation, I think, will not happen. And the reason is because the valuation. For some reason, I don't talk about Asians, but Malaysians have a big. I think because we are not mature yet in terms of valuation and people selling a stake in the company, right? And this is not selling a stake. Maybe a larger company wants to come and, hey, let's partner, but the partnership is in the form of me taking over your company, and maybe you left with 2 or 3 or 4%, you know, from being 100% or 70%, and then so I think that's going to be challenging, and especially if the company is got 2 or 3 shareholders, you may be 70%, but you got 2 shareholders, angel investors. It's going to be very difficult because and I've seen this happen where Malaysians think if somebody's interested in the company, you say, hey, my company must be valuable, and he or she knows something I don't know. You know, they're going to do 1 + 1 = 3. So I hope I'm wrong, but I know Khalid says that, you know, it's a career of consolidation. I know you believe that.
Yeah, I think I don't know whether you're wrong, but I think this may be slightly different because many of the companies are now
extreme stress. Yeah, correct.
So you know, I've started a dialogue in my industry with a couple of big guys, and it's a very simple scenario. You can be 100% of nothing, or you can be 5% of something, right? So it's very simple maths today, because in the past everybody had some market share, or they had some sense of, look, I'm still making $1 million profit, or 50, whatever it is. There is something that they're eating. But today, with a very different market, maybe. But I don't know. We really don't know, and we can't say, because 2021 will tell us this.
Yeah.
The other thing
I think very important is that I think the vaccine for businesses for this year is going to be this merger and acquisition, right? Or not collaboration, right? I think that's going to be the vaccine for business. So if you're really struggling, you need to merge with somebody else and say that you have to, you know, somebody built it in a stronger position where they're able to take advantage. but they want to keep you, right?
Karam, Aaron just tells you is that, Karam, you need to start hosting from your car because you actually sound better and you seem to be a little bit smarter today. I don't know why. Everything is just coming out
Let me put on my glasses, my driving glasses. I definitely look. My IQ goes up by about 4
Right,
points.
so Jim Corden or Karamjit Corden or whatever the new name is going to be, it's going to be coming out next week. Karam in his car, us talking technology, so there we have it. Thanks to Aaron and we're gonna bring Matthew Parsing to the party and Matthew, welcome to the party and Karam's disappeared again conveniently.
Hey, how are you?
All right. I mean, it's good to have you, man. Finally, you Gecko.
I'm dialing in from Quarantine Hotel in Melbourne.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm on day 7 we call it the hotel prison quarantine.
All right. So we've got a guest, an international guest. Look at that, Karam. We've got somebody from Australia on our show. This is an atas show already.
And even after 7 days in quarantine, I still get dressed up. But
Well done.
I'm wearing shorts.
Oh, I think that's a bit too much. Okay. Karam, there goes the PG rating, man. Oh man, all that effort gone down the drain. All right, how's 2020 been for you, man?
2020. I mean, it was a really tough year. I think it's very interesting seeing all of the comments from the other people in the chat tonight. But my experience, I guess, is very similar to others. I mean, when it sort of hit home was on the 18th of March when Malaysia went into lockdown. And at the beginning of the lockdown, it was like, well, okay, so we really didn't know what was going to happen. We're sort of like, what does it mean, lockdown? Does it mean we can't go outside? Does it mean I can't go running? I mean, I'm a runner, and I run every day. And it was like this bizarre feeling. And then suddenly, after a couple of days, then the government really handed down all of the policies and regulations and everything. And then you realize that you weren't going anywhere. And I lived in an apartment with my family, and it was a real struggle. I mean, they're watching the people all over the internet who were losing their jobs and not being able to exercise. And so I think the low point is not just about me, but the low point is about what happened in Malaysia and globally, of course. The impact that COVID brought, and I think that is had a big impact not only on me but on everyone.
Okay, and what was the high point? I mean, in terms of the year, I know you moved. You set up you kind of moved out of Superseed and into DigiGecko and so on and so forth, right? I mean, so there were some transitions that happened in your life in 2020.
Yeah, well, I mean, on a business front, so I stepped down as the CEO of Superseed. I mean, we had a great run, and Superseed continues to grow. In the 2 years that I was in Superseed, we grew the valuation from 20 million to about 150 million ringgit valuation. So, and it's on a great trajectory. I mean, I still sit in Superseed as a shareholder. I was looking for the next big thing, and it just happened that I bumped into this British guy at the Mandarin Oriental Gym during the lockdown, a guy called James South. So I met with James, and he sort of overheard me talking about AI and raising money and stuff like that. And he asked me, he said, what do you do with AI? And I said, well, okay, we're doing voice and we do deep analytics and machine learning, blah, blah, blah. And he said, actually, I've got a VR company, which is called Gecko Digital, and we're launching the world's first online travel agent powered by virtual reality and AI. And we're looking for a company to help us out with the AI. So anyway, I learned a lot about the company, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to invest in the company, and now am the chief commercial officer. And the reason why I'm in Australia is I'm setting up the Australian office as soon as I get out of lockdown, of course, and we're setting up the Aussie office. So we'll have, it's a Malaysian company, it's the holding company is in Malaysia, so it can actually be the next Grab, which is owned in Malaysia, inshallah. And then we're looking at global expansion right now. So right now we have a head office in Malaysia. We have offices in. We have a marketing office in the UK. We have an office in Singapore. We're about to launch an office in India. So I mean, this. To be honest, I mean, as you know, I've been in Malaysia for 20 years. So looking at Malaysia and looking at, you know, how we're nurturing companies out of Malaysia to go global, I think that the government is doing a really fantastic job. I think that I was listening to Elaine talk before, and I deal a lot with Sam Shuffy, and I think the government need to pull their finger out and do a lot more to spur on growth. Now is not the time to be pulling back funding. Now is the time to double down the funding, not to pull it out. So that's it. I mean, I know, Karamjit, you're very passionate about this sort of thing as well.
Yep.
And Matthew, what is 2021 going to be, and what advice would you give us?
So for me personally, 2021 is all about, you know, about building an amazing brand, which I said was founded in Malaysia, called Ogotopia, and building a global icon out of Malaysia. I think that's going to be the big thing for us. Personal wise is obviously, you know, it's all about making sure that we maintain our health and our fitness. Obviously, sitting in a hotel room for the last 7 days. I haven't done a lot of running, and I know I did a little bit of running a couple of days ago, and then I got a bang on the wall beside me, someone telling me to keep it down. So it's been an exciting time, but I think the big thing is there's a huge pent up demand for travel. Domestic travel is already rebounding. Global travel will absolutely explode once the vaccinations are done to a big majority of people. Then
Totally
there's a huge demand. So what we're doing is we're all about transforming the luxury travel sector through VR. So having a fully immersive VR experience using AI. So it's quite amazing. Anyway, it's called iGo Room. So I'll share a link with you guys.
Yep. Okay.
So
very good. So you are doing a lot. Okay. It's interesting, Matt. You always seem to land, and it's amazing. You say you're in the gym at Mandarin Oriental, and this guy oversees you, and here you are investing in something innovative. I'm like, it's like the gods of the tech gods are following you around, man. Okay, we're gonna throw another a golden, a nugget to Matthew and have him pick him up and try to make it into the next superstar, right? So that's amazing. But the valuation growth that you've done for Superseed is amazing. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Jeffrey can further build on the work that you've done to help them. And we'll look forward to your new startup also, right? Digital Gecko.
Yeah, absolutely. And one more thing before I go. I know Roshan has been asking all of these cheeky questions to all the other people, but he asked our very first. He said, "Can you tell a joke?" And of course, you're putting everyone on the spot. So what I did is I thought, okay, I'm gonna tell a bit of a cheeky joke.
Go for it, Matt. Tell us something that'll make us laugh.
It's a Christmas joke. Yeah, it's PG rated, but anyway. So there was during Christmas there's an old age husband and wife went into the church, and during the church ceremony, the wife turns to the husband and she goes, "Honey," she goes, "I just let out a really long and silent fart," and the husband goes, "Really?" And she goes, "Yeah, what should I do?" And he turns to her and he goes, "I think you should turn up your hearing aid."
That's funny, man. That's funny.
Matthew Karam laughs, so I think he will pass, right? So well done for keeping it PG, but entertaining us nevertheless. All right, so you've earned a spot to come back again on one of our Tech Talk shows in the future. Thanks for because of that spot of wisdom or humor that they can. Thanks.
Thank
you. We've got one more guest that we have with us. Stephanie Ping from Walk is going to be joining us shortly. And then we've got a surprise guest. And obviously, don't forget, Ganesh is back from his spa. So we want to see the new revitalized Ganesh before we close the show. The sparred up Ganesh, maybe Khalid too. You need to get him back after his holiday in his mountain and so on and so forth, and see what effect those have. So we'll try and get Ganesh back and the sparred up Ganesh. But in the meantime, let's get Stephanie on the show.
Yep.
Stephanie, thank you for being on the show. Karam, you wanna go for this?
Yeah, I mean, Stephanie, so, I'm actually interested to hear your thoughts for this year. I know you are pretty bullish about, you think that there's even more demand for the service you offer, shared workspace. But before we go there, let's talk about your high and low points, and then we'll go to what you think, whether your prediction for this year still holds versus what you told us 3 months ago. So your low points first, Steph?
Okay, low point. Actually, low point, and I think when I received the question from you, it was 3 low points or something like that. And I think the 3 low points happened at the same time. I like to call it the triple whammy that hit us, which was COVID. That's what everyone knows. But remember, there was the oil price crash, at the beginning of the year, as well as the change of government. So these 3 things, yes, they happen almost simultaneously. Of course, COVID went through the whole thing, but the change of government and the oil price crash was something that people don't really talk about, but it was very, very trying for the economy and then for the funding environment as well. And then we were also funding in that environment. So those are the 3 low points that we had to go through. And it was a pretty, I think, for an entire economy to have these 3 things, it's pretty scary, I would say. Pretty scary.
Intense,
intense.
Okay, but here you are still standing, and you raised a large sum of funding, right, in July, August.
Yeah, so the funding was done successfully, thank God. And then the other high point was also the offer of loans by the banks.
Finally you cracked that nut. Okay.
The banks, so the banks gave us 6 of the major banks, CIMB, UOB, AFIN. In the end, we took it from AFIN because the rates were the best, obviously. So of course we take the best rates, and the relationship as well over there. Although we have good relationship with all the banks, we took that loan. So that's a testament to the financial strength. And then I think the other high point is that the fundraising had 7 follow-on investors.
Wow,
from
7, huh? Wow.
7, 7. Some call me and said, "Oh, can I put more and all that?" And not enough space already. So that we had 7. So that's the 3 low points and 3 high points.
3 high points, and the follow-on funding is fantastic, right? So you got to go back to your existing investors, make sure they're okay with it, and as long as the funding comes in at a higher valuation, who's there to complain, right? And gives you more firepower, especially if you believe like Khalid does that and Roshan does that. This is a year of consolidation, and maybe you guys will be the ones doing the consolidating, right? And being on the front foot. So that's great. But so
we did buy one space over.
Oh yeah, you did say I'm looking to see what else you'll do for this year.
So we're closing 2020. It's been a difficult year. It's been a difficult year for everyone. And we try to give some rebates back to our customers. We try to help them with like restructuring some of the payments that they have.
Okay.
And of course, we try to help them with a lot of connections, trying to get new customer pipelines, trying to conserve their
Okay.
cash flow, all these things. So we do as much as we can. It's been
Yep.
very difficult for everyone, but I'm glad to say that we're good. And 2021, we're very, very hopeful, because like I say, in any difficult situation, it's an opportunity.
Yeah.
And people can say, things are changing, so scary. But at the same time, I think they're changing for the better. I mean, the fact that
For the better.
people all can work in a distributed work style, they
Yes.
can work
Yep.
from home, I think has given the power back to the people a lot more. They can
Okay.
be in charge of their time, right? They can have a more work-life balance. And if that's
Yep.
going to bring more value to the economy, it will be better for everyone.
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That's
Mhm.
good. Interesting. I'm glad you're gonna I sense we're gonna see at least one other acquisition from you this year, and we'll see how you position the second half of the year. How things look for walk. So with that, okay,
Yeah.
Roshan is back.
Stephanie, I'm
So
always,
we,
I need to ask something cheeky and something sensational from you, but Karam's already beating me and sending me nasty text messages and say stop it. So I think I'll be nice to you and just ask you one
Go
simple
ahead,
question.
Roshan. Go ahead. You can ask me the
So,
cheeky, no problem.
and a very simple question. What do you think we should do differently for Tech Talk to make this a better show? I'll be a bit more neutral.
Wow. Actually, I
Karam,
think you guys
that's
doing
good
great.
question.
good.
It's very interactive. You guys are poking fun at each other. It's like sitting in the mama talking to friends or something like that. So I think it's great. Differently,
Yeah.
I can't really think of much. I see Karam sitting in his car. I don't know if he's driving. I think maybe Karam, you don't drive and broadcast.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's
No
dangerous or
way.
not.
Yeah. No. Stationary. Car stationary.
He claims he's one of the few Punjabis who claim he doesn't drink and drive, and he doesn't go live and drive. So we'll see. I'm gonna come up with a new series starting next week. It will be Karamjit Singh in his car driving to tech leaders talking technology, something like that. Or Karamjit
No, it's
Cordon.
okay. Tesla makes it easy for you, Karam. You no need
Sure.
to.
There you go. Especially in
no need
Malaysia,
to.
where Wave and Google Maps are never wrong in Malaysia, so
Yeah.
no problem.
No problem. Yes.
Well, thanks, Steph. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
While we're waiting for Ganesh to get his spa sorted out, because I think he's coming back with this exciting look. For the first time in history, we have a fan, Karamjit. We have a fan who's been watching Tech Talk over the last few weeks, months, years. I don't know how long. But Dr. Aziza Jalaluddin, who is joined us. Dr. Aziza, welcome. She's a major Tech Talk fan. In fact, Karam, she loves you. She thinks you're funny. In fact, she thinks you're funnier than me, which is very sad. And
Excuse me, that is the easiest thing to do in the world. Be funnier than you, because you only think you're funny. That you're Charlie Chaplin in your own mind. That's all.
Yeah, so unfortunately, according to her, I'm not that funny as you. But I want to ask,
Totally agree.
So let's not talk. Let's ask her. So, Dr. Aziza, you've seen Tech Talk and you've seen us. What are your thoughts about Tech Talk? Especially instead of asking you how 2020 was, and we'll probably, Dr. Aziza is also an entrepreneur who runs a global business and so on and so forth. So one day we'll get you on the show. We'll make sure we'll get you on our show to tell us about your business and how Tech Talk has helped you. But tell us a bit about your impressions of Tech Talk in 2020. Hopefully. Go ahead.
Good evening and Happy New Year. Happy 2021, everyone. Yes, and Roshan, I've been a fan of your work, while you do all those videos and everything online for a long time, with Lideromics. And this Tech Talk really took it to the next level. And I have to say, initially you were too serious and I can never see you so funny. I've never seen you so funny. So you've really picked up humor, learning from this man.
Learning from Karam,
But Tech Talk, really, I think it's showcasing the beauty of technology. And I love the conversation. We have had many such conversations around equities and fundraising and the valuations and all of that, especially in the technology scene. So you are bringing that to light, which is very, very important for the community, especially, you know, I'm a Singaporean, so, you know, Singapore, Malaysia, akalia, right? I think so,
Yeah,
but anyway.
right, yes.
So we are definitely are needing this kind of conversation, and I think you have led the scene for a long time in this space, and you are really taking it to the next notch. So I am really excited about these conversations that you're having.
Well, thanks so much. And we have to ask you, because it's always good to ask a layperson. I mean, you're a tech person. You're in Singapore, different country. Although many of the entrepreneurs here will get upset that we brought a Singaporean on, but never mind. We'll deal with that. We'll deal with that fiasco later. But
Actually, they wouldn't be upset, but they'll be upset because we brought a Singaporean on who's got a piano in her patio.
Oh yeah.
I've seen this. Look.
Rub it in, man. Rub it in.
That's too bad.
So that's why we have to bring these entrepreneurs who can afford pianos in their patio in Singapore. So we'll bring you on our show to talk about your work and the business that you do. But tell us a bit about 2021. What, as a fan, as a person on the ground, and we'll bring more fans into the show in the future. What are your predictions for 2021, and where do you see the economy? Where do you see what advice would you give us as a fan of Tech Talk? And we see Ganesh is already getting ready with his startup look, so I'm excited to go, Ganesh. But let's hear you out here. What are your predictions?
Yes, very quickly. I feel that this direction that we are going is on track, especially with this conversation on technology and really inspiring more SMEs to go into digital transformation. It's like you have to evolve, or you're gonna. I think many people have unfortunately dissolved. So if you have not woken up to this wake-up call on digital transformation, that's going to be a problem. And the second most important thing, I think a couple of them have touched on it, is the community creation. All of us should be focusing on our community, or rather we say the people we want to serve, create communities out of them. And then it'll be fun coming together with many communities, in that space. So that's where I think the consolidation was.
And you've been very successful in your business by building communities, right? So I mean, that's one piece, that the engagement piece. I think there's the tech piece, the software piece, but also the engagement or transaction piece.
The high tech and high touch to be in place. So this is where we are, high tech and high touch to come together, and that's why we have evolved into a channel right now. So anyway, we'll have that different conversation. But definitely. The industry needs to step up the game in technology, and you are on track serving that need. And I think we need more people to say yes and join in and have fun, really increasing the valuations of the companies, going into Silicon Valley and understanding many of that teachings. This is the right track. We are on track, man. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. And then stick around. We're going to bring Ganesh. We're going to bring Ganesh on. Ganesh, your lighting is pretty bad. Or is that the spa?
Yeah, I think it's horrible. I'm so sorry.
Are you inside the spa? You wearing a shirt? No.
No. I'm just at the garden outside my room. Yeah.
All right, so that's your PG rating.
Today,
we got a man in a spa on our show. How can you top that, Karam, man? Incredible. Ganesh, we have to end with you. Your final thoughts for us on this first day of the year. What sort of thoughts and advice would you give us all in a spa? Obviously, a good thing. I mean, we can't really see you, but we can sense you are in a spa. But your final thoughts for the day.
Sure. So I think there was a point on consolidation brought up by a number of the panelists. I think this year will be the right year for consolidation, because I think the point you brought up, Roshan, that the biggest issue with consolidation, there are two issues with consolidation, right? Control is how much power each of the people get, and I think the control part is easier to solve. The second is valuation, because the problem with entrepreneurs in Malaysia, we all have our own. We don't know how to value our company, so we just value it as high as possible and see where it is, right? And so I think with the current situation where everybody is not in an easy situation, or there are many people in predicaments, I think that valuation part will get solved. Right, so I think everybody will come back down to earth, especially startups, when it comes to valuation. So I definitely do believe that this is the best time for consolidation. And on the other end, I think on the financial sides, we are in a lofty situation, right? We're in very high valuations today.
Yeah.
I think, as I mentioned earlier, debt will come down as well. Valuations will come down back to normal, or even be depressed a bit. And so with that, that's the best time. And the market, of course, won't be so good. That's the best time for consolidation. But it'll still be the best for digital consolidation. So I think you'll see digital businesses buying offline businesses as well.
Okay. Interesting.
I agree. I think that and Dr. Aziza talked about this, like that you got the high touch, you've got the scalable piece, but you need the transaction or the touch piece, or the engagement piece, the community piece. So Ganesh, I think you're spot on.
I got my unicorn and he wants to say hi.
Well done, man. Karam, this show has it all. We've got even a unicorn that made it. We got a Singaporean. Well done. And we've got comments coming in. Dr. Munira also says well done to everyone. I guess our fan, Dr. Aziza, says good one. There's a bunch of comments coming in. Thanks a lot. I'm gonna. We went through this show so fast. We forgot to showcase a few things, but I want to close out this show with maybe Ganesh, Sashi. We don't have time for it, but I just want to make a quick call out to a special 50%, 30% discount using this code CHRIST50 on this bouncebacksummit.org/Nicole Gives, where you can get the Nicole app. So sorry, Nicole, we didn't get a time to show your video, but quick call out on Nicole for all of those. You can go to that website and get 30% off with the promo code. So with that, thank you everyone. Ganesh, thank you for you actually look better. You look a lot more tan. There's something about you. There's a radiance that's coming out from the spa. Karam, I highly recommend spas as a in between shows. We
Roshan, I did a pedicure, not a facial.
Okay.
Pedicure.
But it has a radiance on your face, so maybe there's some effects on those things, So I'm going to talk.
Psychology affects the whole body system.
There you go. Talk to the woman who knows it all, right? I mean, thanks, Dr. Aziza, for letting us know how that works.
Thank you, Dr. Aziza.
So with that, thank you everyone. It's been Tech Talk Friday. It's a special 2021 edition, and it's been we're signing up from now after an hour of 20 minutes. This has been Tech Talk Friday. Goodbye, everyone. Have a fabulous new year. All the best.